society as a chain, always and every place in the world measured by the weakest part of it. So if we would like to strengthen the social chain, it's about strengthening the weakest part. Now the Bedouin by themselves are very strong people, physically, cognitively, but economically, as I said, they define social economy first. We need to raise the social economy to second, third, fourth, and so on, and reduce the gaps between the rich in Israel to the poor. For instance, we have a community near Beersheba, the capital of the Negev, named Omer. Omer graded socio-economy 10. But near Omer, 1 kilometer from Omer, we have El Said and Lakia and Pura, a Bedouin community, socio-economy 1. So the price of inequality for society could be horrible. We're very much aware of it, and we are going to correct it. Next slide, please. The vision. I mentioned the vision, I will repeat the vision to create a dramatic change in the quality of life of the Bedouin and the Negev within a few years. Next slide. Basic facts. You can read by yourself, but I would like to say some of this data. Life expectancy among the Bedouins are shorter than the average in Israel. It means it's about 70 years old, the highest for man and woman. It's about high rate of dying babies, much higher than in Tel Aviv due to poverty. 70% unemployment, for instance, and we would like to bring most of the Bedouin to academic level, to high-tech, to high school graduation and academic level, and reduce, as I said, reduce the gap between the average society in Israel. Bottom line, we have between the state of Israel and the Bedouin a land claims, about 2,900 land claims. How we arrived at the land claims? Go to the next slide, please. Okay. In this map, I cannot show you by cursor, please. Thank you. This is south of Israel. At the left side, Beersheba, the capital of the Negev, and by the orange, you see the Bedouin communities, Bedouin town. Rat is a big Bedouin town, and in blue, the land claims, and black, the black spots mark places which Bedouin are sitting right now, some of them illegally, on a land of conflict between the state and the Bedouin. How we arrived? After the independent war, 1948, there were about 10,000 Bedouin in the Negev. By the way, the number is double every 15 years. The legal channel. In other words, the court will decide who belongs to the land, the state or the Bedouin. There are two positions of land in Israel. Ownership by the land, 93% of the land of Israel owned by the state, by Israel Land Authority. Only 7% of the land is a private land in Israel. So in the 60s, the Israeli government decided to register, to write down the Bedouin claims. What is a huge terrain? It's about 14 times bigger than Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv, we have more than 500,000 Jews sitting on 60,000 dunam. So it concluded in 1979 by 800,000 dunam, and at that time were only 40,000 Bedouin in the Negev. And then the Bedouin started getting to the court after court. Every trial in a court took about 6, 7, 8 years and ended by the same result. The result was always crystal clear. The judge at the end said the land of the Negev belonged to the state of Israel. Did not succeed to prove ownership. In 2008, Prime Minister Olmert decided to appoint a special committee by Supreme Court Judge Eliezer Goldberg. And Supreme Court Judge Eliezer Goldberg was dealing 1 year and came back to the government and gave his report and said by his report, like I mentioned, the land belonged to the state of Israel, but in favor, I highly recommend to the Prime Minister of the government to compromise with the Bedouin, to erase in 5 years the huge number of nearly 3,000 land claims in 5 years and compensate the Bedouin directly by about 2 billion shekels, directly to the 15% of the Bedouin claimants. Also, to compensate them nicely by a huge part of land, between 150,000 dunam to about 200,000 dunam that will be registered as private land. I don't know exactly how it will conclude it because I don't know how many Bedouin will come and join. They have two options. The claimants, one option is to join and the other option to get to the court in Israel and manage themselves as it was done in the last 33 years since the end of this period of registering the land claims. So, in order to solve the issue and taking the Bedouin from these slums and poverty to modernity, we need to build special and various kind of communities. We do the planning of these communities by ongoing dialogue. It's not designed and planned at the top hierarchy of designers and programmers. It is done together with the Bedouin by hearing. We are in the field, we move in the south, we meet the Bedouin, we sit with the Bedouin, we speak with the Bedouin. You need to understand there are about 28 different tribes of Bedouins. They are not all of them. 28 different tribes. Some of them are not allowed to get married between the other tribe. Some of them will never allow their inhabitants to live together with other tribes. So there is some gaps of cultural, some obstacles among the Bedouin society. We need to be very sensitive about the requirements, about the will of the Bedouin to sit in this place, with this tribe, not with this tribe, and so on. And sensitively, together with the Bedouin, shape the south of Israel together for better relationship between the Jews and the Bedouin. Go to the next slide. It's again, I cannot right now point on the map and give you some examples, but I want, in respect of the land claims, I want to tell you we started already making a big change without direct connection to the land claims. For instance, the biggest Bedouin town in the world, not only in Israel, is Rahat. Rahat is at the left side, the top left side of the map. Rahat, about 60,000 Bedouin living in this town. In south of Rahat, right now we are building 6,000 high-story buildings, 6,000 new high-story buildings. All of them marketed, all of them sold out. And near these 6,000 high-rising buildings for the Bedouin, we're building industrial zone. And the industrial zone, this industrial zone named Idan HaNegev. Idan HaNegev Industrial Zone is very special by a joint venture of 3 municipalities. The first is the mayor of Rahat. Faiz Abu Saiban, the mayor of Rahat, is one partner, and the first partner. And second, Sigal Mohan, a woman, a lady, she's the head of municipality of Bnei Shimon. And the third, Eli Levi, from Lehavim, is the head of municipality of Lehavim. So it's a joint venture of 3 mayors, 1 Muslim, 2 Jews, to establish a common industrial zone, Idan HaNegev. In this industrial zone, about 50 companies will build their compound, and about 10,000 Bedouin, most of them I believe will be women, will be working. Like Soda Spring, for instance, Soda Spring just now under construction, the international Soda Spring, the same soda you drink here in Europe, Soda Spring International building in Idan HaNegev. About 1,000 workers, 1,000 employees, half of them women. Not far away from this industrial zone, we built already, near Segev Shalom, we built already chicken slaughtery in very high industrial standard. If you get inside, it looks like a pharmacy in Switzerland or Belgium. Very clean, about 1,200 workers, 600 women working with white robe, a very aesthetic place, supply chickens all over Israel. And as I said, most of the workers, Bedouin and women, Bedouin from the south of Israel. Next slide, please. In this slide, you see the proportion between the land claims and the others. As I mentioned, only 15% of the Bedouin are land claims, and 85% are victims of the situation. Speaking about our solution, we are going to give solution for the 85, not only for the 15 that will be nicely compensated by land and money, but as I mentioned, we are going to give solution to the rest of the, or to the all 100% Bedouin population in the south. What does it mean? It means that Bedouin that right now living in unrecognized village, one of the black spots in the former map, this Bedouin, head of a family, will get about 150,000 shekel, in addition to 1 dunam. Right now he has no land. He could be landowner living on 1 dunam. 1 dunam is a huge land in Israel, inside modern community. That's in addition to the money that will go directly to the claimants. Next slide. In this slide you see Lakia. Lakia is a small town of about 11 Bedouins living together, the house of Kamal, somewhere at the bottom of Lakia. What is the red? The red and the red figures inside. The red marked about 2,000 land claims of Bedouin. Now, due to the conflict between the land under risk of chemical pollution from Ramat industrial zone. So the Supreme Court in Israel ordered the state to remove the Bedouin from this dangerous zone to much better place. On the right side of the slide, you see the blue. The blue is Segev Shalom. Segev Shalom right now is a small town with also about 11,000 Bedouin living in very elementary community. Must be developed for much better lifestyle. So what are we going to do to expand the blue? You see the blue stain at the center, but the figure enveloping by blue, expanding Segev Shalom town in order to bring the 15,000 Bedouin living in the black spots inside a modern town. So, if you like to criticize the state of Israel of taking Bedouin from few kilometers, and for some it's a few hundred meters, from Wadi 9, the current position of the Bedouin, to Segev Shalom, a would-be modern town with big industrial zone. So yes, it's about removing the Bedouin few kilometers, again, from poverty, from slums to modernity. Go on. Why we need the law? It's explained in this slide why we need the law. And number one is most important, to end in short period, to end this dispute between the Bedouin and the State of Israel. Take into account when the State of Israel decided to register the land claim between 1970 to 1979 were only 3,200. Now we speak about the children and grandchildren and grandchildren. So now we have 12,000 land claims. If we continue waiting or continue operating by the same procedure and wait another 30 years, so the number of the Bedouin will be more than 500,000 in the Negev. The number of the land claimants will be arriving to more than 30,000, and the problem will be unresolved. So we need also, according to Eliezer Goldberg, Supreme Court Judge Eliezer Goldberg, recommendation to have time limitation. The time limitation in this bill is set for 5 years. For the first 9 months after approving the bill in our parliament, it's going to be approved in the next few months. It was approved in June, the Israeli parliament, the first reading, and in the next few months we are going to run it for second and third reading. So maybe the end of this year, the beginning of next year, 2014, we'll have the bill ready. And the bill will allow the Bedouin to join the period, the limited period, in the first 9 months. By joining you every day, which is 125 billion shekel, and for the public security, which is 215 million shekel. And last slide, please. To conclude this program, altogether, it's about housing, it's about education, it's about jobs, it's about modern infrastructure. Next. And the last one, promising future is possible for the Bedouin, other Negev resident, and Israeli society as a whole by this program. Thank you very much.